Boker Tov and welcome. Today it's Monday morning in the Elliott household. I'm the only one up so far. It's Yom Shani, the second day of the week, and we're starting a new Torah portion, Kitisa, and we are in Exodus chapter, let's see, I was going to write that down. I think it starts in 20, no, I'm sorry. It starts in 30, verse 11, and it goes all the way through 34, the end of the chapter. So we're going to be talking about quite a Torah portion this week. My name is Ann Elliott, and I'm the creator and founder of HomeschoolingTorah.com. Yes, this Torah portion is loaded. It's loaded because it's filled with the sin of humanity, and it's also filled with the love and graciousness of our Creator. And I love that. And that's what this year I want to focus on when I go through it. It's got the story of the golden calf and how Moses comes down from the mountain. He has the 10 commandments on the 2 tablets of stone, which are actually a covenant of love between a nation of people and their God. And they come down, and while he's up there with getting those 10 commandments, though, they don't get it. They don't understand his love. They don't understand what has happened to them. And they decide, you know what, I want to set up the gods that we used to have in Egypt, and we'll say that those are the gods that brought us out of Egypt. So they worship the golden calf. That's all profound, and then it goes on. There's so much good in this chapter. Of course, Moses is so upset, and eventually we have this really loving scene between Moses and Yehovah. And Moses, in chapter 33 of Exodus, he says to Yehovah, "You have been telling me, lead these people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me." And I thought that was profound, because as moms, a lot of times we're supposed to lead the children in our family. We're supposed to lead them to Jehovah, but we feel so alone. We don't have any help. You ever feel that way? Like sometimes you wake up and you look around the house thinking, if these kids knew how alone I was and they mutinied today, I would totally not make it. But he says, "You have not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, I know you by name, and you have found favor with me." Yeah, that's true of us too. He knows us by name. He has known your name since before the creation of the world, and it's same with me. And it says that we have found favor with him. We are his people. He has searched us out. He has come after us with love and mercy, and he has pursued us and changed our hearts, melted our hearts, made us tender, opened our eyes. We have found favor with him. But then Moses says, "If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways, so that I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember, this nation is your people." And sometimes I look at my kids and I say, remember, I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to be a good mom. Remember, this nation is your people. And Yehovah replied, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." And Moses said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here." And then he says, "How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with me? What else will distinguish me and your people from all the other nations that are on the face of the earth?" And Yehovah said, "I will do the very thing you have asked, because I am pleased with you and I know you by name." Last week I did a video about how God says he will answer our every prayer if we ask it in the name of Yeshua, because he loves us and he's pleased with us. I just was struck as I was reading through this section that everything that he says to Moses, Yeshua says to us as well. You can read it for yourself in John chapter 14 through 17. It says, Yeshua says to his disciples in John 14, he says, "Don't you know, even if after I have been among you such a long time, that anyone who has seen me has seen the Father?" Back in Exodus 34, Yehovah passes by Moses and lets him see just a little part of him. Moses, of all people on the face of the earth, got to see Yehovah. But we get to see Yehovah too, because Yeshua says, "Don't you believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me?" If we have seen Yeshua, we have seen the Father. The Father has put in his Son Yeshua everything that represents him. Yeshua perfectly walked out the Torah, but he walked it out with such love, walked it out with the true way that it is to be walked out. And sometimes we say, I cannot walk this life alone. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know what it's supposed to look like. But then we don't turn to the Gospels and read about Yeshua and absorb who he is in our lives so that we can copy him in every way possible when he is our picture of the Father. He is what the Father looks like. And if we have seen Yeshua, we've seen the Father. That is so important. That's why we study him. And then right after that, Yeshua says, I will do whatever you ask in my name. You may ask for anything in my name and I will do it. And that's exactly what Jehovah said to Moses. He said, because I am pleased with you and I know you by name, I will do the very thing you have asked. Now, in our memory verse for this week, the verse for this week for Homeschooling Torah is Exodus chapter 34, verses 6 and 7. Jehovah Elohim, compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the fathers to the third and fourth generation. Those characteristics of Jehovah, if you could go and study them in college, in seminary, and you could research out in your own Bible every single instance of those words. You could learn what they mean in their original Hebrew. You could really get a grasp on them. But until you have studied Yeshua, you will not have a good picture of the character of the Creator. I wanted to bring over to Philippians chapter 2. And this, to me, this part really drives this home. Philippians 2 verse 6, it's talking about the Messiah, Yeshua. He said, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but made himself nothing, taking the very nature of what? A servant, and was made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. And the reason I bring that up is if you go now back up to chapter 2, verse 1, and this would be a good section to talk to your kids about this week. If you have any encouragement from being united with Messiah, if any comfort from his love, if any fellowship with the Spirit that goes with you every day into your home and will walk with you, if you have any fellowship from that Spirit, any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and purpose. Like-minded with who? With your children? No, like-minded with the Messiah. Have the same mind that was in him in you. Be the same as him. Be united in his goal. And this is how you do it. Verse 3, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Just as Yeshua laid down his life and became a servant to all, even to the point of death, we are to do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility we are to consider others better than ourselves. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Your attitude should be the same as that of Messiah, Yeshua. You know, Jehovah is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and rich in love. And we are to be gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and rich in love. Every word that describes our Creator should describe us. Every way that we saw our Master Yeshua walk should be the way that we walk. That's my word for this morning. That's our verse of the week. I think it could take much more than a week to think about those things and to actually apply them to our daily life and to take them out from the halls of systematic theology in college and seminary and put them into our homes with our kids and say, you know, this isn't something I just talk about on Sabbath. This isn't something that I just wrestle with and learn about in an academic way, but this is something I put into practice in my life as I serve you. I have compassion to you. I am gracious to you. I forgive many sins. And yes, I punish the wickedness in my house too. All of these things are characteristics that should describe me so that others can see Yeshua in me. Have a great week. We'll see you back tomorrow with Parenting for Mothers Only.